Everybody, John Felt here. This is the weekly weather briefing for the 8th of November 2025. Looks like a quick cold snap. It's going to be intense. It's going to be record setting in spots. It's going to be short-lived in most spots, and we're going to return back to some pleasant fall weather. Let's get started. Well, first off, the image to the left is the current situation, weather map, and here's the system that's bringing the cold air through. By tomorrow, the cold front's passed large parts of the central U.S. and moving into the east. Now, before I get to the weather forecast, let's look at last week. Precipitation, not much over most of the nation. It was a quiet fall week. Pacific Northwest was sort of the action spots with an enhanced atmospheric river. Up in the western higher elevations, we had some snow. North Carolina also had some snow. Now, as far as temperatures go, the western U.S. experienced a mild week with temperatures 6 to 10 degrees above normal. The southeast U.S. had the cooler weather with temperatures anywhere from a little bit below normal up to maybe 5 degrees or so below normal. So where was the warm air last week? Well, anything in red made it to the 80-degree mark. And if you look at the purple, those areas made it to the 90-degree mark. And a few spots here if you look closely. Now, rivers are not expected to be active this week in most areas. It looks like no significant flooding. But rivers are on the low side on some of our main transportation, grain transportation corridors, the Ohio, Illinois, Missouri, Mississippi, and you can see running near low flow situations. So there's probably some reduction in barge traffic due to the low flows in spots. Okay, so let's get into the forecast. Here's the big picture. We're in an Alaska ridge pattern, ridge of high pressure up near Alaska, low pressure in the east. And what we have right now is we have this lobe rotating around this low, and that's bringing in the cold air. But by Thursday, what happens? Well, it shifts off to the east, and this high pressure begins to push into the central U.S., and that's going to replace the cold air pretty quick. Now, I think you can see that better here on these temperature plots. These are 5-day chunks, and look at the top two. Look how that blue, which is the cold air, is replaced by red, which is the warm air, very quickly as we go through the week. But it's going to be a shot of intense cold air. Take a look at Monday, 10 to 20 degrees below normal. And record-setting cold on Tuesday morning in all these spots that are circled, the southeast U.S., and look at Florida, large parts of Florida, record-setting cold. Hard freeze, Atlanta, Birmingham, and look at even northern Florida below freezing. Give you an example at Louisville, 64 today, pretty nice. Only 38 degrees for the high on Monday. So that's temperature, short, intense cold blast on the way. It looks like another quiet week as far as rain and snow, maybe the Pacific Northwest and the West Coast, some Pacific moisture streaming inland. I think the other story will be some snow, a little bit in the Midwest, first snow of the season in those spots, most of those spots. Lake effect snow. This is where the warmer Great Lakes, the strong Arctic air blowing over the warm Great Lakes produces instability, and lee side heavy snow. And take a look at the extended here. This is where I said we're going to have that short-lived cold snap, and then we're going to warm up. But look at this, 6 to 10, 8 to 14, a lot of areas above normal temperatures. As far as precipitation, southwest U.S. and the west coast looks like the spot with the most likely above normal rain in those areas. So that's this week's briefing. Hope it helps you in your planning. Take care.